Kanpai.
Kanpai. Very muted. Kanpai.
A very somber.
Kanpai.
Very
because
exhausted
today
Kanpai.
is episode 120 of Kanpai Cast, and we are hot off the back of a double 12-hour stream for charity by Xeno, Nasuth, and good friend of the channel, Joey Zero. And
Thaylien stopped
today...
And Thaylien stopped by.
Yes, I stopped by to help moderate and add a few things to the reward tiers, like adding things to Xeno's stream and paying to revive and then destroy Jesus multiple times.
Wait, you did that?
No, I caused that. Because I am, as ever, a force for chaos on Xeno streams.
Indeed.
Did not end. I don't know how much money was spent on that.
While I was there, at least $80. Just on reviving Pokemon Jesus and killing him off again.
It's terrible. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Funnily enough, Arceus does in fact look like a dear god. So,
Dear God.
Indeed. So, little explanation of why I'm in the dark with spooky lighting. And that is because today's episode is a quick little topic to fill in before we do our 3-episode review of Grimdark in anime, and why it may not actually exist as much as people hope, because it's a wonderful topic to discuss, a wonderful setting for stories to be told in, but anime seems to have left it behind in recent years. So, before we get into the topic, let's have a little bit of the housekeeping, just a little bit. The like, comment, and subscribe, all the YouTube malarkey. If you want to join us over on Discord, we have the Kanpai Cast Discord and Xeno's own Discord. There's the streams that happen on Twitch from both Xeno and Nasuth, because Xeno usually streams on YouTube, but he has got a Twitch now, as far as I'm aware.
No,
yep.
we
started dual streaming. Yep.
Dual streaming. My word. Outrageous.
The things you can do these days. Oh, crazy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Especially considering Twitch doesn't like dual streams anymore.
Nope, they don't care. They don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't care at all.
They reverse position.
Right.
It's kind of nice.
Keeping up with Twitch's preference is worse than trying to keep up with YouTube's algorithm.
That's true.
Yes. So if you want to drop into the description, all the links are down there, and come on over and have a good time. And that's anything else we've got to say. We did do the charity stream, whilst Nasuth and Joey did. How much did you raise?
Yeah, so I was just about to say this. We raised $500. All of it goes to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We've learned a fair deal from this. We basically only had like a couple of weeks to coordinate the whole thing. And yeah, we want to do more. We want to make it more engaging so that people can affect things. We've also learned that I'm not quite sure if Tiltify is the platform for us, because it was overcomplicating a lot of the donations. There's some stuff we're gonna, and yeah, again, like choosing when to do it. I think we made a huge mistake in saying January to do the donations as well. So we're gonna probably do it in beginning of February next time. We're also like, let's do another one. It's like we can't do it too frequently because people don't have that kind of equity.
Yeah,
so,
No, exactly.
Yeah,
We can't expect people to go killing off Pokejesus like 6 times in a couple of hours every time. That just doesn't work.
So we're gonna investigate.
We should also promote it a little bit more beforehand, so people know to
Definitely.
this is coming in a month. I should save some money if I can, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll probably give it like a 2-month announce ahead of time, sort of thing, so people got But yeah, there you go.
All right. So Xeno, why don't you lead us to the topic while I change my lighting back to normal?
Cool. Right. So this is actually a topic that I think has a lot going for it. This is the topic of Grimdark. And this is something that we're seeing starts off, but then it changes. We've seen, examples of Grimdark, which are really just edgy teenage angst. And realistically, Grimdark stories are ones that really... They get told so little because I think the mass populace don't like the idea of bad stuff happening. It's quite interesting.
They like violence, but they want the good guy to win in the end.
Kinda, yeah. But like, we're gonna go over it, and we're gonna talk about examples of Grimdark. We're gonna talk about our perceptions on Grimdark. I've put like a pseudo structure together and what it means to us. But we've gone through and we've picked out a load of stuff to go in the background. And I think the first starting point to each of us is what is the sort of like definition and characteristics of just Grimdark and Grimdark Anime, right? For me, like, what's really important for Grimdark is that it's a job that needs to be done. Without it being done, then the world can fall to ruin, right? So, a brilliant example is like the Warhammer 40k universe, where there is nothing but war. It's the 41st millennium, and literally soldiers have to go and fight. Otherwise, it's gonna go to shit. So it's
otherwise,
a job
there's nothing to fight for.
Basically, yeah, right. Otherwise the Xenos and the mutants and the heretics, they're all gonna come in. They're gonna wreck up everything, and there is nothing left to live for. So, yes, it's exactly this. And this to me is the pinnacle of what Grimdark truly stands for.
Yes.
There may be hope. It's in small little glimmers, and not the overwhelming. It's hope against all odds.
Yeah.
And most often it gets snuffed out.
The way I'd put it into words is that the world is cruel and dark, and will not change no matter what heroes rise and fall, no matter what short story we are part of for the story we see, no matter who may temporarily end up with a happy ending. The world around them, the world that they are in, is unaffected and indifferent to them. Even if they leave their mark on history, that's it. That's all they can do, is leave a mark. So in popular media right now, a lot of people are aware of things like Elden Ring and the FromSoft games.
Yeah.
And they are specifically geared around the idea of Grimdark, because no matter what you do,
the cycle will always start over.
The cycle starts over. Yeah, they gear them so that no matter what's going on, you're either just sustaining the status quo or you're breaking it. There are very few, if any, happy endings for any characters, and even then, it's the light of their world is slowly dying.
I would even say, even something like StarCraft 1 versus StarCraft 2, because in 1, you defeat the Overmind, but it doesn't really change things too. The Zerg are still out there, still being, doing their thing. The humans and Protoss still aren't really friends. Or in fact, the new Emperor isn't exactly a good guy. But in 2, it's much more, you've got these big heroic stories, and they're defeating a gigantic evil to save the universe, that sort of thing. And it just doesn't feel feel the same.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of anime, right, to me, a brilliant example of Grimdark is... Yeah, I'm gonna start with this. It's Goblin Slayer, right? So realistically, no one would really care if Goblin Slayer never came back, right? until, the world was overpopulated with goblins, right? No one was dealing with the necessary threat, right? We have a team of adventurers who are doing this what's the unthanked job?
A thankless
job.
Yes.
Yeah. And our team's doing the good job and things, thankless job, and we know that if they stop doing it for whatever reason,
civilians and lesser adventurers are all going to die.
Yeah, that is for me. Goblin Slayer is bright and it's sparkly, it's shiny. Lesser characters will die in things, but like the main cast don't. But that's kind of the narrative.
What I do like about it is they make it clear that there is a hero's party that's killing off the huge, enormous threats that nobody else can deal with. But all of the other heroes want to be that party. They don't want to be just heroes
doing the actual small but necessary work. Yeah. It's like nobody wants to be a sewer worker, but without them, civilization falls.
Yeah,
exactly.
So if you two had to pick differently, like what two shows, like one each, would you pick to be your? This is Grimdark.
For example. You want to pick first. Nasuth, you go on it. See what you've got.
I mean, I don't want to just use the obvious, but Berserk.
No, just use the obvious.
Berserk.
Choose the obvious.
Berserk is like the OG. These mercenaries. You don't really see too much of the Grimdark in the anime. You only see the beginnings of it. But even in the world they live in before then, life is cheap. These are mercenaries, and they do what they can. They fight for money, and some of them are going to fall on the battlefield. And it's really only like Griffith that has these big, grand ideas of wanting to become a king. But you see how bad the royalty is, too. The royalty in this world does not treat its subjects very well. And then once everything goes, you think they're working to build Guts up to be this hero, this world changer. And then everything goes wrong. And he becomes like just a man going around exterminating demons. Yeah, because it's all he can do to survive.
True black swordsman. Yeah.
But it's because he just wants to survive. It's not because he's a hero. It's because he just wants to survive.
Oh, what are we? Sorry, are we talking about in the Golden Age, or are we talking past Golden Age?
I haven't read past Golden Age, but at that point, I mean, he wants to get revenge on Griffith too, but
everyone's aware of what Guts is after the events of the Golden Age.
Yeah,
everyone knows what the Black Swordsman truly is.
Yeah, and so I think you have a very valid point here, Nasuth, but I think it's kind of undercut because if you only consider the Golden Age, right, it is pretty much the hero's story, right? It's the hero's journey until at the very end where it just goes horribly wrong.
Yes,
right.
It's the hero's downfall.
And then,
but I think that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it because they are building you up to be this typical hero's journey, but it's not that. It's never really been that.
Yeah.
What you don't realize through the whole Golden Age arc is that the demons have always been there. The demons are there and are corrupting the world, and that is why it fits quite so well into Grimdark. Because even though you've got this story of a band of almost found family that builds up and gains fame and starts itself, it's getting torn down again. It gets destroyed because the world
nothing they've done mattered.
So on a little addition to what Nasuth, why Nasuth has picked this in the manga, before if you read the manga and before the Golden Age arc, it's showing you stories of like, past the Day of Prophecy and everything. There's one story where effectively Guts is fighting a demon, and effectively what Guts is trying to do is he's trying to cause the God Hand to appear before him so he can get his revenge on Griffith, right? But it doesn't work out, sort of thing, and it basically, the God Hand disappear before he can act, and all that's there now is basically this what's called the princess of the castle, Guts, Puck, but basically the princess is like hanging off the edge of this war-torn tower, and Guts is trying to save her, and basically he ends up using his sword so that she can actually sort of like leave her on, kind of thing, and he can pick her back up because he's only got one working arm. And she cuts up her hand and everything. She does survive. She was like tempted to death and things. She survives, and she forsakes him. She just completely and utterly chews him out, sort of thing. And he kind of walks away, trying to be the lone badass kind of thing, setting off in the sunset. But Puck, who is about to chew him out as well, Puck sees it's used a lot, but the tears streaming down Guts' face as basically the wounds he has been inflicted by the demon mean nothing to him, but the harsh words of this princess hurt him so much more.
Yes.
Thankless job. What about you, Thaylien? What are you going to pick?
Well, I think I'm going to have to go for the one tearjerker, the real tearjerker of Cyberpunk Edgerunners.
Okay.
The world of Cyberpunk is deliberately grimdark. Okay, you make a name for yourself by the deeds you do and how much of a blaze of glory you end in. And that's what happens to everyone in this, apart from Lucy and their driver. Okay, this is downright Shakespearean. Everyone's dead on the stage, and even the person that gets away is scarred by it, both emotionally and physically. There's no happy ending. Nobody was a hero in this, except as a minor triumph against the world that they were trying to fight.
But here's a question: were they trying to fight the world? I mean, to me, I'm interested in your point on this, because, like, they weren't. To me, they weren't trying to fight the good fight.
No, they weren't. They were fighting for their own survival. The world is literally out to kill them, to take everything they have down to their souls if it could.
Okay.
The corporations monetize everything. You look at how David's mother died. She didn't die from the accident. She died because she didn't have insurance. And when he went to go and get the money, try and pay for it, they had already given up on her, declared her dead, and cremated her.
Yeah.
Because he didn't show up. Because even the 2 or 3 days that he had to go and get the money, that was too much for somebody without insurance. Because they just closed it off straight ahead of time. And that absolute uncaring, corporate money-driven future is all too scarily real as a possibility for us going forward. But on top of that, the inevitability of simple things like getting augmentations, cybernetics in this, as you get more, which you need in David's particular line of work in the world of edge running and mercenary work, the more capable and more chromed up you get, the more likely you are to lose it and just burn out.
Okay. So, I kind of want to pivot here ever so slightly to reflect back on what you're saying. So you've kind of convinced me, the idea of survival being just as important a theme to Grimdark as much as
if
fighting
not
the thankless
actual
job,
survival,
you know?
at least a struggle for survival.
Yeah, exactly, right? And to me, yes, certainly Cyberpunk Edgerunners falls into this. So you've convinced me here. But one show that whenever I do a search for Grimdark Anime, one show that always seems to appear is Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, right? Now, I watched this week because, you know, we were doing this episode and I wanted to be properly prepared and everything. Which is why I even have notes here.
My God.
Anyway, my God. Anyway, so Grimgar have
oh, bad feels.
Arceus. But anyway, by Fenton, right? But the my question to you is, both of you, have you seen Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash?
I hadn't heard of it until you mentioned it the other day.
Right.
I
Okay.
saw it come up in the list, but I have not. No.
Right. So Grimgar is basically it is a definitive isekai, right? And it's a very, very interesting isekai because basically our group of our surviving party, so to speak, they are transported to another world, but they have basically forgotten everything of their old life. They have a lot of lingering, like, long-term like muscle memory things. So, for example, one of them who likes to do carpentry ends up crafting an aeroplane, right? He's never seen an aeroplane. Well, he never remembers seeing an aeroplane before, but he does exactly the same shape of an aeroplane, right? And they definitely don't have them in this world, right? Mm-hmm. He does animals that, again, we have yet to see in this world. He does, like, all sorts of stuff. There are phrases and sayings that they will say in things. It's like, oh man, I wish I could take a picture. What's a picture?
What's a picture? Yeah.
You know, exactly. So it's interesting in that regard. So they've literally just woken up in this tower. They come out and they're in the world of Grimgar. That's literally what it's called. And they are basically, you know, given the opportunity to become adventurers or volunteer soldiers. And the idea is that they've got to go out, they've got to do jobs, they've got to earn their keep, they've got to become full-fledged soldiers, so on and so forth. But to me,
that sounds like a very euphemistic way of phrasing it. Volunteer soldiers.
True, but again, to me, they could have just become merchants. They could have just been farmers, right? They didn't have to be adventurers, right? In Cyberpunk, we have many, many character deaths, which is, again, one of the big things that adds credence to what Thaylien's saying about the whole needing to survive, right? But we don't really have that here in Grimgar. We are hinted heavily that, oh no, characters could die, but we don't see, like,
could
funerals.
die.
Yeah, we don't see funerals. We don't see wakes. We don't see memorials. We don't see a lot of this stuff. And to me, it feels more on the lines of edgy teenage angst than actual grimdark.
There's one I've kind of felt that way about too that we've been watching, but do you have anything more to say about this one? Because
my question to you is, would you classify Cyberpunk Edgerunner as grimdark if no one died? Not even the police officers that are, like, in this car scene right now. Right?
Oh.
Would you classify?
Yeah,
I would classify it as a dystopia.
Classify it as a good, yes, a dystopia. But that's the thing. I wouldn't classify it as very much of a good tribute to Cyberpunk itself.
Well, regardless of that,
as a medium. So
yeah,
no, I would class it just as a hero's journey in a dystopia.
Yeah.
So, yes, the actual struggle to survive is key to being Grimdark. You have to be able to lose people.
Even if you don't, you have to be able to.
You have to be able to. It has to be clear.
And it has to feel like a real threat, not just saying it while they clearly have plot armor.
Which is a kind of what you get in, because in the first episode of Goblin Slayer is very much shock value, but there are instances throughout the show where you genuinely see that were it not for the arse-pullery of some of the preparation that Goblin Slayer makes.
Yeah.
Well, it is preparation, it's not arse-pullery.
Yeah.
But we don't get to see what he's preparing, so it's a little bit were it not for that, they would have been overwhelmed and they would have died.
Yeah.
Yes. So if he wasn't doing these brilliant in the first season, but bizarre things that he was preparing ahead of time, then they would have died. They would have lost somebody. You would have had, let's say, rampant goblin horniness on the floor before he could have stopped them without those preparations he made. And you would have had some very, very scarred elfin priestess. If it had not been for the things they actually managed to pull off.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. So in Grimgar, yes, it's hinted that they could die or that other people died, but is the actual threat real to them?
So for me personally, when I watch, first off, Grimgar is a good series, right? I think it's something that you can binge or should binge. I don't think it's something that I think I would have gotten frustrated if this was on a week-by-week basis, genuinely. It is a good series, right? I'm not going to deny it that. But they kind of they have their pardon the analogy, but they have their Jesus Christ character, right? This character died for our sins, right? But then there's really little to no threat of anyone else potentially dying, right? It's like, okay, so we've got our Jesus Christ, now everyone put on your plot armor.
Oh,
is it putting on their plot armor, or are they actually just taking more care because of that lesson?
No, there's some mighty strong ass plot armor.
Okay,
right.
So
and that's
that. Yeah, I would. That's a fantasy dystopia. It's not really grim dark, because the grim part of it doesn't really happen, even though the dark does.
So Nasuth, you said you had
Yeah. Now, admittedly, we haven't finished it yet, but we've been slowly watching Claymore, and this is the first time I've watched it, and I gotta say, while people do die, none of our main characters ever really seem to feel like they're in danger. Even the ones, I just don't know.
I kind of get where you're coming from, because Claymore is a Shonen Jump series, right? It was a manga published by Shonen Jump, and Shonen Jump typically have this quality to them, right? Where the main protagonist has mighty thick plot armor, right?
And
Claymores themselves are
cast members.
Sorry, what was that, Thaylien?
They have to have Shonen Jumps tend to have recognizable cast members that can come back in again and again to keep the series going. So a few of the characters in that will almost always have more plot armor than the average character.
Yes. Even in things like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where I think Stardust Crusaders, a lot of the villains died. Barely anyone died in Diamonds Are Unbreakable. Golden Wind, Nasuth, can you remember how many of the villains died in that?
Not a clue.
I feel
there were several.
I think there were several. But yeah, so still, it was a case of even the villains in a lot of Shonen Jump series, they will take the mightiest of shoes before they are squashed beneath it. Yes. So it's I kind of see where you're coming from with Claymore.
I mean, while the world is bleak and the lives of the claymores in general are supposed to be cheap, in practice it feels like they only lose ones that are absolutely necessary for the plot, and everyone else is just kind of just going to keep going.
But okay, so this is. Tell you what, I'd like to turn on spoilers a bit because I would like people to go watch Claymore, and I don't really want to, ruin their experience. So let's we're gonna put on spoilers now, right? You've had your warning. So the big thing with Claymore is also the fact that the Claymores themselves can actually turn into the monsters that they're fighting.
True.
So I do think that actually gives credence towards it getting a Grimdark label, because they themselves can be the monsters that go bump in the night.
But we've only seen that happen to like one of them.
Yes,
and then there was another group that were just like, but we can just magically restrain ourselves again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I can see it moving away from that aspect of them turning into monsters and into them harnessing their monster power.
But again, this is part of the problem with Shonen Jump, where it's just like, it's like,
we must escalate.
But we got to escalate our powers. So again, like Demon Slayer is like, water breathing with a little bit of fire, a lot of fire breathing. I'm like, is this Avatar all of a sudden? Is this Avatar with swords?
Yeah.
Hot take. All right, should we turn off the spoilers?
Yes.
So, yeah, okay. I think these are all good talking points. I have lost my talking points. Here's my talking points. And I feel that we are making a good, firm foundation for our case for Grimdark. For example, these are the I asked. So I got my talking points from ChatGPT. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But I asked ChatGPT to give me 3 examples of Grimdark, right? Berserk, which I think we all agree, Hellsing Ultimate, I would also agree.
It, so I can't say for sure.
Well, I mean, if the Hellsing organization weren't there to do their job,
yes, for sure. Yeah.
I think shit would go down sideways.
But I would argue that if Alucard is successful, then they have solved the problem of the monsters in their world. So
true, but you could argue the case with Goblin Slayer. If Goblin Slayer kills all the goblins, then there's no more.
Yeah, except
but he's not capable of actually killing all the goblins. While Alucard is clearly a monster of titanic proportions.
True, but I don't know.
Goblin Slayer is one man with one team. He won't ever get through all of the goblins in the world.
But I feel Alucard
could get through all the vampires, werewolves, zombies.
Right, he could, right?
But does he care enough?
Well, I mean, does he care enough? But like, is he allowed to?
Wasn't that his deal? The reason that he's the most powerful is because he said he will not suffer another monster like him to live.
No.
Yeah, but
I thought that was what his pact.
I think that was.
I thought that was what his pact was. He would become the monster.
I thought he was just more flamboyant about that, but I mean,
no, it's like the reason he's the top vampire in the first place is because he was made a monster by the people around him, and so he decided, and so he vowed that another monster would not be made as in the same way, or that other monsters would not arise.
Does Hellsing Ultimate go into his origin?
I'm not sure. But it was one of those things that is, it's heavily referenced by the fan base, so it's
Yeah.
So the idea that he could succeed and destroy all other monsters on the planet, is right there as a concept. So there is a way out of it being grimdark as long as he's free to act.
Right.
What was the third one?
Hellsing. And the third one was Black Lagoon.
Another one I haven't watched.
That's a good choice.
Is it?
Yes.
I feel the plot armor is too thick.
Well, no, the plot armor is thick on the characters, yes, but nothing they do changes their world. Nothing they do is against the grand indifference of a world driven by drugs, war, and money. They're just a small cog in that machine. No matter which way they fight, whether to survive or to defeat somebody else, that's not changing what's going on around them. Even if they were to blow up the entirety of Aranapur, it would the trade would just move somewhere else. That's a really good choice, because they are just surviving in a world that doesn't care.
Okay, here's
that's the whole
question.
point of why Rock's there in the first place.
Is Revy good or lucky? That's the real question. If she's good,
talented.
If she's good, then it could be Grimdark.
Define good.
If she's lucky, good as in talented. She seems like she's trained for the job. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's definitely good.
Then that's more believable and feels okay.
She's also incredibly reckless. She's given up on
lucky.
The idea that
okay.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. It's more that she will take. She's not lucky. She's living on an edge that people will not often approach. She takes the risks, confident that she can get out of it, where everybody else is amazed because they would never have actually tried that in the first place. But their fear holds them back.
This is the argument against what you're saying, though. I feel that Revy takes those risks only because the plot armor carves a nice safety buffer around her, right? She can't, like you're saying, no other character would be gutsy enough to take those risks because they won't survive.
Not gutsy enough. No, it's because she doesn't care if she survives or not. That's the thing. She's given up. She until Rock came into her life, and you notice that those risks stop happening as more and more influence of Rock in her life brings her sanity back. It's not a case of luck. It's a case of her being unhinged. Madness rather than
literally hoping that somebody will take her out.
Yeah, it's almost thrill-seeking of looking for somebody who can end her. That's why she goes into the fight she does, because it's a problem, and that's why Rock coming into the picture makes it more real.
But
the reason Rock's there in the first place is because his country and his company doesn't care for him.
Right, but again, I don't feel that Black Lagoon fits this because, and actually tell you what, let's time box this before we go on for too long. The big thing about Black Lagoon is, thus far in our definition, you have to be fighting the thankless job, which these people are not doing, and they have to survive in a world that basically wants them dead. I don't think they're doing that. Right? They're merchants. They are selling their services for a price, right? And they are hired by the world that is doing the drugs, the weapons, the war. If
they died, what would happen?
Nothing. The war machine.
Exactly. Absolutely nothing would happen.
Right, but that's
not the only defining factor of Grimdark, though.
No, it's not the only defining factor of Grimdark, but it's a very key point of it.
But
and
the big
why
thing is
this could fit.
But the thankless job, right? The whole fighting the thankless job is the fact that if they don't do the job, right, shit's gonna go sideways for everyone else. Right? If Goblin Slayer and his party stopped killing goblins, right?
Yes.
Goblins would run rampant.
Just because nobody thanks them for, it's supposed to be a job. Yeah, it's supposed to be a job that needs to be done. And transporting drugs doesn't seem like something that needs to be done.
Or weapons, or kidnapping people, or stealing shit.
No. But would you rather Rock, Revy, and others do that, or some of the other characters we have seen in that show do it?
Now, if they were like smuggling people, out of bad areas and into good areas, while they were doing that, you might have something.
Yeah. But I still feel that Grimdark doesn't actually... The whole point of Grimdark is that no matter what the characters do, they don't change their world. That their world will just roll over the top of them.
I do agree with that sentiment.
But they seem to be going with the wave rather than struggling against it.
That may just means they're not good people. They're not heroes in this story. We're following them as they are the protagonists.
The world
itself. We're following them as they're the protagonists, and that actually is a really key thing that you can do in Grimdark that you can't do in other shows. Yeah. You can have bad people be the protagonist and see them as good people because they are the best of the worst.
Can you give me another example?
Okay, let's go down through your list. Let's think on
Dorohedoro,
something
maybe?
Like. No, let's take on one of the other ones, like. GANTZ.
But GANTZ doesn't work for that, though.
In a sense, because what you're doing in GANTZ is just it's supposed to be Grimdark. I don't actually count GANTZ as Grimdark. I count it as dystopia with a slice of hope.
But
if they fight hard enough, they can win and actually get out of the situation.
Right, but they're doing the thankless job. They have no choice.
No, they have no choice. No,
all agency is robbed from them.
Yes,
and if they fail, that's it.
But you see in GANTZ that there are people that are just taking advantage of it. Okay, you see that these guys that we're following are the best of the worst. Okay, they are enslaved into this task and they are trying to make the best of it instead of the others who are just using it to, as we see when it opens up into the larger thing, do despicable things. With free license because they are effectively on death row themselves. They lose all their morals. So it's a similar thing. We are following people who are not good people because of what they're doing. But they are better than the people around them, and so shine a little brighter.
But with GANTZ, there's no choice, right? You're doing this or you're ceasing to exist, right?
What happened to Rock?
Huh?
Rock would be dead if he didn't join them.
No, he could have just left entirely. He could have taken a third option.
He couldn't go anywhere. In Rawanapur, because he was left there entirely. He didn't have money. He didn't have the ability to leave. That's the reason he was there in the first place.
He could have. Right, we are like. Do you want to
start? We've time for this for a content.
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
So
tell us, what do you think is Black Lagoon Grimdark? Right? Should we continue on?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's Grimdark, delicious in dungeon. Whew. Man,
yes.
Can you imagine eating that? Ugh.
3 episodes in.
Ugh.
Anyway,
well, I don't know, shellfish.
Right. So moving on, the next talking point that was delivered to me via ChatGPT is the comparison of Grimdark to other genres like shonen, shoujo, isekai, so on and so forth. So to me, I feel that Grimdark is often a very nice, healthy palate cleanser, right? After a while of watching so many isekai series or slice of life or shonen jump, you name any other genre that has more shows to do with it than the sun, and you will feel you just like this is like everything else, right?
Yeah.
The great thing about
hot take shonen jump shows are as grimdark as many Grimdarks, with the exception that they're presented as bright and heroic worlds.
I disagree with you entirely.
Why? because no matter what the hero does, no matter how high he climbs, no matter whether he succeeds in his goal or not, another villain will rise. And they have to, because it's shonen. Okay? A new villain will always rise because it's shonen. There has to be somebody else.
Oh my god.
Get it back to my point. The whole point is that Grimdark can be a really nice palate cleanser so that you're... Right. I mean, fuck knows what. So here's a question for you, right? If there is a Grimdark show out there that comes out in a season... would you actively choose to go see it over other stuff of that season?
It almost certainly. Yes, I would.
That's what I was hoping Metallic Rouge would be. I'm not to spoil the. I won't say one way or another whether it is or not, but that's what I was hoping it would be.
I'm definitely hoping.
I feel like you have. That. I feel like you have literally just done the thing that you didn't want to do. I think the whole point is you're not giving your opinion on it, but regardless, I think the big thing is that Grimdark shows are like very far and few between. To mimic Nasuth, I would argue that I was hoping Solo Leveling, the way that it was portraying itself, would be the same thing. I've watched the 3rd episode and I want to throw up, right? So it's not like that. It's not Grimdark in the slightest, right? And
I think I know I think you're right.
I think I know which one I'll stick with after the 3-episode rule, just to see if it gets better.
Fair, but the whole thing is that I feel that Grimdark is a very important show to have. A very important genre to have, because it is a brilliant palate cleanser. We curated a bunch of different shows for the backgrounds and things. We got Vinland Saga, again, brilliant. Attack on Titan, I wouldn't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, see, I was wondering about that. That feels yes. There's a lot of death. A whole lot of death. But is it really Grimdark just because of that?
But here's the thing, right? I feel that, again, a lot of this is what's popular, right? Yeah. So it's not necessarily what we've actively chosen to put in. Psycho Pass, Promised Neverland, Darker Than Black, Ghost in the Shell, Berserk, Akamiga Kill, GANTZ, Dorohedoro. Thank you. Scroll up higher. Scroll up higher. Thank you. Right. Evangelion, Drift, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Hellsing Ultimate, No Game, No Life, Zero, specifically Zero. Elfen Lied, Goblin Slayer, Grimgar, A Made in Abyss. Oh, that's made me sad now.
But see, I wouldn't say Claymore, Abyss is Grimdark either, because like they could have stayed on the, well, maybe it is, because the life on the surface isn't exactly good either. I don't know.
I mean, I think life on the surface only exists the way it does is because of the Abyss. I think that if you were to go to the rest of the world, right, it would be so much more of a undeveloped world compared to the town that's around the edge of the Abyss.
Fair.
But looking at the comparison of what is Grimdark to what is not, the examples that ChatGPT is given is Attack on Titan versus Naruto. Which would you rather watch?
Neither. That's interesting. Because
if I didn't
know
about
Attack on Titan, and I have watched Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan's the one I gave up on.
Yeah, you see, like, if I didn't know either, I would go with Attack on Titan. Knowing both, I would watch Naruto. Right? I'd much rather watch Naruto. Right? Then we got Devilman.
Cutting out the filler.
Yeah, sure. Right. But regardless of that, Devilman Crybaby versus Sailor Moon. Right?
Oh, that's a tough choice.
We definitely know Devilman's definitely Grimdark. I mean, come on, that's just an eternal cycle. But,
not knowing either, right? I would have gone with Devilman.
Yeah.
Knowing both, I would have gone with Sailor Moon.
I can't pick.
Right?
No, just knowing
love them
Devilman
both.
Crybaby, you would have picked Sailor Moon.
I love them both equally.
you would have picked Sailor Moon over even if you had no idea what Sailor Moon was. If you knew what Devilman Crybaby was.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Right. And then ReZero and Sword Art Online is the final choice. ReZero in both instances. Right? ReZero very much popularized the whole looping narrative.
Yeah, death looping, yes.
Yeah, and I think I would have been certainly drawn to ReZero in both instances. So yeah, I think that the comparison to other genres, Grimdark has a very important place to fill, and not enough people give it credit.
I would argue in favor of yours, because it's not so much a palate cleanser as an important contrast. Whenever you're taking anything in life, you need some contrast. I mean, people in the audience at home, you can have the most delicious food, but if you ate it for an hour straight, it would not be nice. After that point.
Oh yeah.
Even if you had infinite capacity, your brain would tell you, no, that's enough of that. Time to have something else. And
doesn't matter how
that's
good the
just how
chocolate
brain.
mousse is. Eventually, it tastes like shit.
And if anybody can eat an entire mousse made of chocolate, then that's just incredible. So, because mousse are huge. Mises. Anyway, the point is, you need contrast in your life.
Yeah.
Too much sugary sweet silliness, too much hero worshipping shonen, too much isekai. You need the switch to a dark fantasy. Even if it's not grimdark, you need something that will actually kill off characters or will provide you with that moment of despair to contrast to all the victories of everyone else.
Well, look at what's happened to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that's a brilliant Western comparison. They've oversaturated the whole thing.
Yep, all these hero movies. And they did it with the Star Wars as well.
Yep.
And I mean, say what you will about Joker, but you're switching the format to more of a psychological story was kind of nice. But I mean, that's DC, but still. It was a departure. Same thing with Birdman. Everyone loved Birdman, although I never watched it. Just doing a different take on these movies is even sometimes refreshing. Same thing with these genres. I mean, imagine if we had an isekai that was really, really good, Grimdark.
Yeah, or an isekai that went to somewhere other than medieval Europe.
Yeah.
So what about an isekai into a world that's just floating above the ground consistently, and everybody has to use technology that's completely unrelated to swords and spears and magic? That'd be great. That would be a nice little palate cleanser on that one. That would be contrast. But yeah, no. If you even think about some of the shows that are on this season, and you look through the list of what is there, and yeah, the ones that stand out are the ones that take a classic thing like a shonen isekai and do something fun with it, and do something that is self-aware funny instead of, and it's the same when we had Konosuba. Konosuba, self-aware, funny isekai, and it got popular because of that. Because in the world where every isekai was just, I was down on my luck and something happened and now I'm a Superman. Compare that to all the Batman movies. Then the most recent one, The Batman, with emo Bruce Wayne. Yeah, Pat Bat. That one tried to show him as the detective, growing into the role instead of as the vigilante. Yeah. And even though the movie was fair to middling in my eyes, it wasn't bad, it wasn't super great.
And it was a departure from the norm. They tried something.
It was
imagine
they
trying
tried something new, and that actually gives it a charm, gives it a good contrast to the others.
I thought the Batman was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was like potentially the best Batman movie, honestly, because like again, it's brilliant having a version of Batman that does not care about the citizens. He is just trying to, because if he does, then
the
he
contrast
will not.
Between him, yes, that's the whole point of the growth of the movie. Where he went from being vengeance to being the Batman, and leading the citizens out of the disaster at the end. You know, that's the difference. And having a movie that actually showed that progress, that was impressive. That was new. As nice as they tried something. So Grimdark as a genre is that contrast.
I also feel, and this is one of the other talking points that the lovely ChatGPT came up with, is character development in Grimdark set. So, you know, there is more often than not, when it comes to Grimdark, you will see a massive growth of a character, no matter what series it is, right? You know, we got the priestess in Goblin Slayer, right? We've got so I'm going through Claire in Claymore, right? What else have we got?
You've got Ceres in Hellsing. You've got the lead characters in No Game No Life Zero, which because the development of somebody from basically an automaton to a person. You've got the development of Motoko through Ghost in the Shell.
Thorfinn in Vinland Saga. Oh, God.
Yes.
You know,
all of the characters in Edgerunners learning a little bit more about, you know, the trust and care for each other than the selfishness they had at the start.
Yeah. And I think,
and even going through a complete 180 opinion and becoming your own villain in Attack on Titan.
You know, there's one thing I don't see on this list, though.
So,
well,
that kind of maybe should be. I don't know. You know, what do you think about Chainsaw Man? In a world where you have the Gun Devil, can it be anything but Grimdark?
I don't know. I think this is the problem with Chainsaw Man as a thing, because it follows. I'm sorry, Zena. Let me. You.
This is not a thankless job, though, right? Because the big thing. So the big whole premise of Chainsaw Man is that the belief in a fear. So every fear has a devil associated to it. There could be a devil of tea bags, right? If someone has a fear of tea bags, you know, it determines the stature and power of that devil. Right. Now, there are certain other elements behind it, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it.
Can't spoil it too much.
But the big thing is, it's not a thankless job, right?
Because it kind of is.
Hold on.
I'll tell you as a comparison, it's not a thankless job. I know what you're going to say. But it's a necessary job that nobody else would want to do.
No, but that's the point, though. There are people that do it. Right. Not only is there government individuals that hunt down devils, you have privatized devil hunters as well. Right. You have people that actively choose to fight against the things that go bump in the night. Yes,
you never said it has to be just a small group of people. That was nowhere in our criteria.
No, exactly. On top of that, it's also relatively a fruitless endeavor, because even if you kill the devil, people are still going to be afraid of those things. It'll just reform later. You know, that power of fear isn't going anywhere.
I'm not saying anything. But the okay, fine. So you're saying that if it's a large organization, then that also counts towards being Grimdark.
I mean, it could. It doesn't have to be small, or
could.
you know, it just has to be kind of a necessary and fruitless job. Yeah, because the Claymore group is supposed to be relatively large.
Yes, even though the Claymores aren't a large group, the actual group supporting them is quite big. Same with this. We are following a small part of a larger world, and there are more devils out there. There are a world that is plagued with devils, and they're not going away, as it were.
Okay, can we hit the spoilers?
Go for it.
Oh, I could have just gone to the ratings button right there. Hang on. There we go.
Right, okay, so giving everyone the opportunity to avoid the spoilers, I am going to manga spoil the shit out of this. Okay.
Go ahead.
Right, okay, right. No. If you're reading the manga, you should have gotten up to this point, like, 2 years ago, right? So the big special thing about the Chainsaw Devil is that if he eats a devil, they can't come back, right? Which means that the world forgets about that thing ever existing. And like the important thing is, like, so there was a Nazi devil, right? But then the Chainsaw Devil ate the Nazi devil, and no one knows what Nazis are anymore, right? The whole world forgets what that fear is.
So they forget. So they forget their fear of guns. They forget their fear of bombs.
Yes.
But then
that's
somebody
the whole
might.
premise.
But the guns would still be around, and somebody would figure out what they are, and that thing would still come back. Then
no. No. That's if the fear of that thing exists, right? So if it's a case of, like, you know, guns are still, well, I mean, but the whole world, right? Guns are confiscated. Guns are illegal, right? You're not allowed to have guns, right? Because they're trying to minimize the influence of.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So that's it's a
putting on an even bigger spoiler here.
Yeah.
What would happen if the fear of control was gone?
Well, that's the problem. I haven't read volumes 12 and 13. I was like, I'll wait till 14 comes out in March, and then I'll read 12, 13, and 14 in one go. I haven't read 12 or 13, so I don't know what actually happens.
Fucking manga readers.
What? I'm sorry, right? But this is the whole
over,
point.
And they haven't even caught up yet.
Oh my god, fucking asshole.
But new fears would still, would rise, and people would, eventually still new devils would appear, and
fear is a necessary part of life.
Yeah. But the whole point is that what they are doing. So the Chainsaw Devil was not always in our world, sort of thing, and it's only like it can act on things at different points in time in its lifespan things. So Chainsaw Man, being the hybrid of human and the Chainsaw Devil, right, is sort of like a new thing and has been brought into the government organization to hunt down devils, right? Not to consume them, but just to hunt them down, right? But it has the added bonus that it can actually eliminate devils by consuming them, and thus the fear of them disappears from the world, right? That is the big... But the Chainsaw Devil has been doing this for at least decades, because they reference the fact that Nazis ceased to be something that people know about. I mean, I don't know how it works. Maybe it's a case of all the history books that, include Nazis, or everything to do with World War... Maybe World War 1 and 2 never happened. I really don't know how it works. They don't go into that level of detail, right? But the whole point is that they can influence the world on such a grandiose scale, right? Much like in Undead Unluck.
But then no one would also no one would remember that they did it. So it is kind of a thankless job.
It is.
For the Chainsaw Devil, yes.
I guess I did not see that coming.
But the hunters, I have no idea what kind of pun you just tried to pull. I'm trying to focus on what I'm trying to say. But the hunters trying to do the job, like, they get paid by the government if they're a privatized hunter, or if they're actually part of the government, then they're they just have a standard 9-to-5 job, right? They'd
But again, the thing comes back in that because of the nature of their world.
Are we safe to take off the spoilers?
I guess.
Cool.
So
that was quite a long section.
The whole thing should have
timed that one.
The whole thing I'm getting at is that given the nature of their world, there is still that thing that there is a very solid chance that they never change it.
If the only element that we're missing is that it's a thankless job, in the end, I would still say that counts. Like if it satisfies all those other options, I would still say
other options.
But I don't think it's also about survival, right?
Isn't it?
The people.
If they let the devils run rampant, then they're all screwed.
Yes. The people we're following may have a bit of plot armor because of the nature of them, but that's not the thing, is it?
But if you think about like the start of the series, the devils need the humans to survive, right? If all the humans are wiped out, then there's no one to fear the devils.
I don't see these things as mutually exclusive.
No,
they can still be screwed and not all dead.
Yeah, that makes it worse to me. The idea that devils are just farming us for our fear.
Yeah,
that makes
so much worse.
It definitely puts it.
At least
puts
death
it
has
so
an
much
end.
further into the Grimdark category. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I think I've been swayed. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Grimdark.
Okay.
Yes, I win.
All right.
It's not a competition, has it? This is discussion.
It's a debate, and we just won it. All right. So here's a question to both of you then. Why is Evangelion not a Grimdark?
It is, according to this list.
Yes, it is according to this list. But why is it? Why could it not be?
I don't know how it could not be a Grimdark.
It's a struggle for survival. It's a thankless job. Ray definitely dies, and Asuka comes close to dying.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, what is the answer?
I would call this a simple dystopian tragedy.
No.
Because the world effectively ends.
No. Depends on which version. Depends on which version you're watching.
The world as we know it
also according to the rebuilds, it's cyclical, so it never actually ends.
Okay, so according to rebuilds, it's cyclical, so that does. But the basic Evangelion series that we, all anime watchers have probably picked up on.
Sorry, what I heard from Nasuth was threw up on. Yes, we all threw up on Evangelion.
We definitely threw up on it a bit. Shinji did more than that, but the
I was like, which one of them is going to make reference to it? Yeah,
the whole thing is that Evangelion, as the base premise of it, is if they defeat the angels, their world go back to normal. If they don't, the world effectively ends, as we know it, at least. And whatever happens in the end of it, even with the end of Evangelion movies.
Sorry to interrupt, but my understanding was it depended on who won determines how the world is reshaped, right?
Essentially.
So it's basically a case of all the angels wanted to reshape the world to suit.
Because Adam was supposed to be here, but then Lilith crashed here. And because of the lenses of Longinus, which is a whole other thing, they trapped Adam, and the Lilim essentially took over the world. And the angels want to reverse that. The first impact was enough to essentially awaken the angels and bring them to our reality. And so they want Adam to properly have this world.
When was first impact?
Sorry, I mean second impact.
Right. Okay.
First impact was the moon of Lilith crashing into Earth. Second impact was when they started fucking around with Lilith and were making the Evas and stuff, and then third impact is what they're trying to either create or stop, depending on your opinion.
Who it is?
What side you're on.
So this is a basically just a tragic fantasy or sci-fi in that sense, because it has a definitive end to it, for good or for ill.
No, because the humans could survive. The humans could defeat all the angels, and then humanity's like,
end of Evangelion, Shinji and Asuka survive and can repopulate the Earth.
Yeah, they're the new Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Literally his weird, sick fantasy.
Ew.
So yeah, like it's but the thing is, like, had humanity just, you know, not fucked itself by putting Gendo Ikari in charge, right? You know, humanity could have just won.
Well, no, because then Sele's goal would have been achieved. Sele also wanted humanity to be turned into LCL because of the human instrumentality project. They wanted to prove that they were worthy to continue in this world as servants of Adam.
If everyone wasn't off their fucking gourd, right, and humanity
actually defeated the angels, there was a chance that humanity defeated the angels and actually won and carried on as normal.
But even so, I think the whole point is that there are multiple different outcomes to this, right? It's not just one true path. Plot armor is pretty damn weak in this series, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, really, if Rey is the only one who dies, not counting all the people that turn into LCL,
yeah, with the instrumentality, yes,
then
that's just
I would say
a bad ending.
I would say it's not really Grimmdark. I would say it's apocalyptic fantasy. I'm closer with Thaylien.
No, I'd still say it's Grimmdark though, because like, I mean, I'm trying to ignore the end of Evangelion here because, like, I just think Hideki Anno had too many mushrooms at that point in his life.
Yeah. So with the later movies, which we know are a better take on things,
I haven't watched the
it becomes cyclic.
Can we slap the spoilers on? Because I want to know what happens in that fourth movie, and I'm not going to get to it anytime soon. Right?
Go on, Nasuth, tell him.
Right.
So hold on. Yeah. Spoilers time. He's going to spoil the fourth movie. Right. Okay. Go on. Just what happens at the end.
So in the fourth, just what happens in the end. They go into the Giant Rey is created because Gendo has gone into the negative universe, and Shinji has chased him, and now Shinji and Gendo are fighting. And hang on, my brother's here. Note to self, cut that out.
I already hit a highlight.
Thank you. So he's gone into the negative universe, where the Golgotha object is, which is a thing that was left behind by the creators of everything. And when they died, they created the Lilith and the Atom seeds because they never wanted them to. I don't know. Anyway, Shinji follows him in. They have a weird psychological fight where they're both piloting Evas, but they're going through all the different scenes in the movie. Villa, which is the giant flying ship, stabs Giant Rey in the eye and somehow sends a new spear to Shinji, and it's the Spear of Hope. And so Shinji's like, "Oh, cool! I'll create a world without Evas using this spear." And so he gets to be the focus of instrumentality. He gets to rewrite the world. Normally, it would be a cyclical thing, and they would start over with Kaoru as both the first and final angel. But because he did this instead, he gets to rewrite the world into a world without Evas at all, and he just transitions to normal Tokyo. And I think he's married to what's her name, the new girl with the glasses.
Yeah,
he's older. He's like actually grown up now.
Okay,
so that's it. It's honestly a pretty cool sequence, though. It is actually really. You know, I've sped through it. It's a little weird too.
That's fine. But that's still a point though, because basically everything goes back to normal then.
More normal than normal.
Yeah.
There were never any angels or anything. It was
for that world, yeah.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
You said everything to make it better, so it's not, in that sense, not Grimdark.
No, because he could what's got the angels could fuck over the whole thing.
It's only because he managed to overcome he saw his father was just like him back when he was younger. He tried to shut himself off from the world. He withdrew into things, and it was only through Yui that he found somebody else to share things with. And eventually, because Shinji doesn't give up in this one, Gendo realizes the one place that Yui still exists is in Shinji. And so that gives him the ability to move on and lets Shinji become the focus of instrumentality.
Okay. But still, the whole point is that, you know, the world could have been destroyed by the angels.
It could have.
And instead, they succeeded. And I suppose...
Even for a while, it's still pretty fucked.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
In a Grimdark
Spoilers
world,
off.
you know...
Hold on. Before you carry that on, spoilers off. Right, go on. Say what you're going to say.
In a Grimdark world, everything that they would have done would have gone a full cycle. So that the end of the end of the movie would have led into the beginning of the whole cycle again. Similar to the way that Devilman Crybaby did.
Right. I feel... Fuck that noise. I feel... Devilman Crybaby is not grimdark; it's just apocalyptic. But regardless of that noise, I don't think what I think is another key facet of the Grimdark, which, you know, we've just spoken about with Goblin Slayer, with Chainsaw Man, with all that sort of stuff, right? Is the never-ending fight, right? That is the missing part in Evangelion, right? It's that there is a victory, right? Now, as they're doing it, it doesn't feel like there's a victory in sight.
There's both a win and loss condition. I think is a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, but I think the big thing is that the win and loss condition is very definitive.
The actual end, yeah.
Right? I mean, like, you know, you could say that there's a win and loss condition in... well, there's certainly a loss condition. Maybe that's the thing. There is no win condition. There's only a loss condition, right?
Maybe.
For Grimdark, you know, you can only have... So for, like, Goblin Slayer, well, it's goblins run rampant and, you know, they can't stem the tide anymore.
And unless he can literally convince everyone to fight against goblins, then there is no win condition. They'll just keep keep happening.
Or
they blow up the Green Moon.
For crap, what was the other one we were talking about? Chainsaw Man. The devils turn Earth into a battery farm for fear, right? You know, it's so I think maybe it's a case of the never-ending war, which may again lead credence to Claymore being grimdark, because, you know, is there an end in sight to killing all the...
If they keep turning into Yoma, can you ever truly defeat all the Yoma?
Yeah. Right. Shall we move on to, I think, at least the last part of what I wanted to talk on, which is the controversial take of Grimdark, because there's a lot of controversy behind Grimdark. You know, things like Elfen Lied for its very graphic content. GANTZ, controversial for the extreme violence and naughty bits, right? I don't know what that last one is. A School Live, I've never heard of. A criticism for its mix of moe and horror elements. I don't know what.
All right.
But, you know, how do we feel about the controversies and criticisms behind Grimdark? I mean, hell, we've lived through one with Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, that's true.
And a few others as well, because they have we've had the thing about how shows like Akame ga Kill and then Cyberpunk in turn just didn't seem to have a condition where the hero of who we thought was the protagonist survived. So in both cases where we're following a protagonist and they die so that somebody else can live, for some people it's incredibly controversial, and lends credence to the grimdark nature of them. When it comes down to it, the controversy in Grimdark is always because of, sorry about the engines, is about the way that they handle graphic natures of things to show consequences for failure. The consequences for failure in Grimdark are always violence, death, or of a sexual nature.
I feel
it's important for it's important for people to realize that just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean it's for kids. And I think a lot of people forget that, and then they end up like, oh, this is not appropriate at all. But it's like, but the world is often a very grim, dark place, and things like this sometimes happen. It's more than sometimes. It's. I think it's okay to criticize it as long as you're criticizing it on its merits. Like it, they say this is grim dark, but really it's just boring garbage. Like the one you were talking about earlier. Shoot, I can't remember which one it was. Oh well.
Oh yeah. Oh, hang on, what were we getting into?
I don't know. Oh, Grimgar, that's the one. No, actually, you said it was good, didn't you? But just not Grimdark.
It's a good series, just not Grimdark.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if you will allow me a little diversion, okay? I have a small story from somebody I know that kind of highlights this. Right? It's real life, so I'm going to put in a warning for anybody that might have been in a similar situation for non-consensual activities. This is not a story about that specifically. So an acquaintance of mine was at a party, and they found somebody that was not related to anyone in the room, not a friend, not an acquaintance, there at the party. And they found them helping one of their known friends out of the door when that friend was looking very drunk, very woozy, and possibly drugged.
Yeah.
So what they did was they confronted that person who nobody else knew and didn't have a place there at that party. And they seemed much older than everybody else there at that party.
Yeah.
And when that guy, nobody else was doing anything, when that guy basically just told them to shove off, they decked them in the face. My friend, my acquaintance, punched him in the face and
can we confirm? Was it a case of the stranger told them to shove off and your friend decked the stranger in the face?
Yes.
Cool.
Exactly that. So the only way that they could make sure that stranger did not walk off with their friend was to go for violence, was to confront them with violence. That was the only way they could have stopped them in the situation. Now, my acquaintance then had, when the police arrived to deal with the situation, was then arrested alongside that the stranger.
Yep. Yep.
So the stranger for being there and possibly having nearly done something horrible, and my friend, she was arrested for assault.
Yep.
And she didn't actually get any charges pressed.
No. They just arrest. It's standard procedure to arrest everyone and then sort it out.
So she spent overnight in a cell and was let go with a warning because first offence and in a justifiable defence situation in that sense, because the other person was in fact completely unknown, trespassing on the location and found in possession of certain drugs of a non-consensual nature.
Yeah.
And the poor friend of my acquaintance tested positive for those.
Right.
So he was handled very differently to my friend.
Yeah.
So, but the bit that leads this back into the conversation is that the parent of my acquaintance, the mother of my acquaintance, the only family they've got at the moment, absolutely would not believe, and still to this day refuses to believe, that the actions taken were justified.
They don't believe assault.
Yeah.
The assault. So they do not believe that the assault was justified. They do not believe that the person that tested even though the friend that tested positive for this drug in their system and the person that was carrying them was found to have the packaging for that drug on their person and was arrested for that crime, my friend's mother does not believe that what was going to happen was actually going to happen.
I think what Thaylien's saying is that no matter what the situation is, there's always going to be some stupid person who doesn't understand it.
Yes, that is exactly what this links to this
how
conversation.
I feel about people that are like, it's gratuitous blood and violence.
Hold on. Right. I don't want to put such a negative outlook on what Thaylien has actually told. I feel it's a better way of saying it is there are people out there that believe that these things can't happen. Right.
Exactly. That's what I was leading into. Exactly that. There are people that are in complete denial that these things happen in the real world, and that they can happen in even a fictional world, and therefore they should not be depicted, and therefore they should not be present in the content that they are consuming ever. That denial of what basic reality is can lead to controversy no matter what the show, no matter what the rating is.
Here's a thought. Is Rising of the Shield Hero potentially a Grimdark series? Because you got to think the waves never end, right?
Yeah.
The Shield Hero certainly doesn't get any thanks, right?
Yeah.
And there's obviously the controversy.
It's happened before. Not only that, you've got the whole thing of the other world that is being hurt by them succeeding as well.
You know.
There's an argument, depending on how Shield Hero ends, either in the manga or in the show, whichever comes first. Depending on that, there is a solid argument for it.
Yeah,
for it being grimdark but with a heroic bent, that they can actually succeed and change their world. There is a small but significant.
I don't know though, because he's already made like massive changes. Like his struggles have already made massive changes to the world.
Well, I don't want to explore that too much, right? It was just a thought process, like it could, but again, like I think I can understand why some people react so negatively towards some of the more violent animes out there, right? Goblin Slayer is one of my favorites, but again, just has such nasty criticism against
that first episode.
Yeah, but at the same time, Cyberpunk having nearly as equal gratuity to it, is highly praised, and hell, I even said was anime of the year 2022, right?
Yeah.
So there's a
difference between portraying it. I think often people think that it's being glorified, and in some cases it may be, but I think in other cases, like Goblin Slayer, I think it's very clearly this is a bad thing that's happening. You should not enjoy, this is not the outcome you want to see.
Yeah.
This is a grim fable with an unhappy end if you're not careful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I had more talking points that we could have
talked.
But I think this has been a good conversation, but so the other one was talking about the popularity and audience reception, which kind of is also about the controversies and stuff like that. Art and animation style. Often I do prefer the more grimdark stuff because it's often animated with more definition, unless you're the second season of Goblin Slayer.
Here's the thing. Have you seen the potential things from the manga of One Punch Man versus what Mappa could be doing with season 3?
Did Mappa have season 3?
Or is it Mappa or is it...
no, I didn't think a studio was announced yet, because I thought they were having so many issues.
Well, somebody's predicted that it would be Mappa because of the specific visuals that the manga artist the manga artist that currently works on the high quality version of One Punch Man, as opposed to one who just does scribbles. His drawings of those events are just sublime, and I want to see a studio do justice to those.
Well, I kind of hope that the fact that he started his own studio would lead to them actually doing season 3.
That'd be amazing.
But what else we got? We got the narrative and the thematic depth of Grimdark stuff, which more often than not, there's a lot of depth to this stuff. Unfortunately, there can be plenty of times when there just isn't. Character development and in Grimdark settings, again, character development is just, massive. Again, looking at Thorfinn in Vinland Saga, I really want to watch that. And watch season 2. The influence of Grimdark on pop culture, Evangelion. I mean, need we say more, right? Then there's the future of Grimdark, which I don't really think that we can predict much. I mean, yes, it is quietly ticking along, but just like the mecha genre, you don't see it all the time. And then those were all the different talking points.
Just do we want to have a quick summary then?
Yes,
in a sense. Because the question I have to ask, to answer the initial question that prompted this episode, is why do we not see so much Grimdark in an anime setting? Do you think that based on the difficulties we've had with the classification, with the portrayal of many things as Grimdark, do you think that it's the difficulty of expressing true Grimdark that causes there to be a lack of it in anime?
Some of those elements you just ran across at the end might make it, because you need to have a deeper story, you need to have more characterization. Oftentimes you have more detailed animation. I think a lot of these factors could combine to turn off studios and maybe even artists.
So I feel that there are more shows that lean on Grimdark than are given credence. Right? I love the word credence. Good word. There are plenty of shows that are like, well, this is blatantly Grimdark. GANTZ, right? 100% Grimdark. But Grimgar, again, heralded for being Grimdark. Same with Future Diary, same with Tokyo Ghoul. There are plenty of shows that are like Grimdark, but realistically, oh god, a Kamika Kill. God damn it, I hate that series.
A Kamika Kill was like the prototype. It crawled so that Cyberpunk Edgerunners could run.
Things run regardless, but regardless of that, there are plenty of shows out there that even we've just briefly touched upon is Shield Hero potentially Grimdark. That there is Promised Neverland. For the majority of Promised Neverland, it's bright and bubbly, right? But there are heavy layers of Grimdark underneath it, right? And Berserk is Grimdark through and through. You just looking at it, it's bland, it's bleak. It's got dark colors to its palette.
There's constant, never-ending war, even in the Golden Age.
But again, Dorohedoro is like really bright and bubbly. We didn't really explore it. If we had more time, I would have loved to. I don't know if it's Grimdark or not. Right? But the notes that I have got to really classify something as Grimdark is, the fighting a thankless job, right? Trying to survive, or both. You don't have to fight the good fight. You're just trying to survive, a la Made in Abyss, right? And there's only a loss condition. There's no win condition, right? Because even if
or if there is a win condition, it's super unrealistic. Like, again, if Goblin Slayer could convince everyone to fight goblins in the whole, there was an issue, then maybe there would be a win condition. But because the world just isn't like that, it's never going to happen.
What's the name of the girl? Is it Riku in Made in Abyss?
Rico.
Rico. Is it Rico?
Yeah.
Okay. If Rico manages to find her mum down in the abyss, then what? Can they even get back up?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's like, you know, how do is, right? So yeah, you get the idea. So I think it is time. Oh yeah, and also, you know, one of the nicest things which I've taken a note of about Grimdark is it's
Yes.
right. Should we get moving on?
Yeah, let's go into our next section.
Cool. Okay, right. It is time for the supporter questions. So Zrugal says, I have a few seconds.
What?
Are you done?
Woo!
Zrugal says, I have a few seconds to fill. Oh, I hate you both. I just fucking hate you both. Right. Zrugal says, I have a few seconds to fill up while Naz sends me the comments from last week. Like and subscribe. Okay. Zrugal says,
seconds.
I have a friend who has short attention span for anime without combat. Can you help me recommend a good anime?
Ooh.
Dear God. It has...
Something
are we trying to go...
Yeah.
Okay. One Punch Man.
Combat. Yeah,
Demon
that's a
Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Nice and flashy.
But those have combat.
Regular combat.
Wait, are we trying to go for things without combat? Because I thought you want stuff with combat.
Oh, or a short attention span for anime without combat.
Yeah, I
what
thought
would be an anime that this person
as...
would like?
Yeah. Oh.
Can you help me recommend good anime? I mean, like,
yes.
You know.
So if he only has a long attention span for anime with combat,
right? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I read.
We're trying to make him watch more of that.
We're just trying to watch more anime. Cyberpunk Edgerunner.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh.
The action it has is very, very good.
Undead Unluck.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something interesting happens every episode.
Probably say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. Because even when there's no action, there's definitely memes.
Or 2. Maybe start with 2.
Maybe. No, I think start off with 3. Because you go straight into Star Platinum and everything.
Yeah.
And then go back to like seasons 1 and 2. Well, season 1, but yeah. Parts 1 and 2. Maybe the original Trigun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, yeah, that's
Cowboy Bebop.
Episodic and everything happens. Yeah, even the quiet episodes, something fun happens.
Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? I think that's pretty actiony. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. No, it's at you're kind of looking into more of the shonen stuff, which will have something happening regularly, and then where they even stretch out the combat to whole episodes.
Because GANTZ got a fair bit of fighting in it.
Yeah.
Until it kind of slows down, I suppose.
I'm thinking like shows that at least have that initial thing that allows him to then commit. I'd even suggest Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but I mean, I'm not quite sure if it has that initial kick. Right.
Sonic Prime.
Recuse asks, I have a friend who has horny attention span for anime without nudity. Wait, what? Okay. Can you help me recommend a good anime?
What was that one that you made us watch, Thaylien? Najika? Blitz Tactics?
Oh my god.
Yes.
No nudity in that. Not a single bit. No nudity there.
Not a single bit of nudity.
I mean, if
gushing over magical girls.
Oh dear god.
Xeno.
There's also Chain Soldier.
Yes.
And what was the other one this season? I can't believe it. Oh, God, the 12. Sorry, was it 12 wedding rings? Sorry, 12. I can't fucking.
Oh yeah. No. Tales of Wedding Rings.
Tales of Wedding Rings.
Tales. Yes.
Yep. There you go. And you can never go wrong with High School Double D.
Nah.
Right.
Yes.
Birdframe Thaylien asks. Oh, sorry. Birdframe Thay asks. Given the initial success of the animation Atreides on YouTube,
That's Astartes, you silly boy.
Astartes, Jesus fucking Christ. Astartes.
I thought that'd be easy being a Warhammer fan that you are.
I'm not that big a Warhammer fan. Why does everyone think I... Anyway. Yeah, exactly.
Give it the topic.
Right. Yeah, the two pick.
That's how it went, right? They said this is Dune and then kicked a guy into a pit.
Yep. What would you like to see from a licensed Warhammer 40k anime, and what style would you like it animated in? I want it animated in the style that is Hellsing Ultimate / Drifters, right?
Okay.
And I would like a narrative that's told from at least two different perspectives. So, like, maybe you have Space Marines of some faction. Space Marines of some faction. Maybe one of the alien races, not just fucking humans. Like maybe the Eldar or even the Tau. Just pick. I even sell for orcs. Come on.
Orcs would be an entertaining one because even though they wouldn't have much dialogue, what would be there would be entertainment from the orcs.
Strangely enough,
maybe
all the things that you're suggesting were basically the same as what I was going to suggest, which is the story that they were going to go, so that we're starting to go with in If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device.
Yeah. And then maybe one of the Chaos factions, which is, like Chaos Marines and things like that. Just give them a different side of the narrative. But I wouldn't want to go beyond 3. 3 sides of the story. Right. Do you guys have anything you want to add to that?
No. I was asking you.
Cool.
Like I said, if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device, that's it. I just want that story.
Given the downward slide of Goblin Slayer, when is Xeno going to change his avatar to Notice Me Senpai? To be fair, if I could afford, I do have a dream to actually make a Goblin Slayer Oberon Warframe skin that would be like custom to me, but I probably have to pay someone to do that, and it's going to be expensive. I have to have someone design it first.
You have to pay out the wazoo, but his wazoo was surgically removed 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean,
anyway. Right, so moving on to the comments. First from the news, Zrugal says, Zrugal like begging...
Big lizard.
Big lizard, okay. More than big monkey. Godzilla is better. Yes, yeah, 100%. I don't know why Godzilla X Kong just King Kong movie. Anyway, Strong Michelle says rumor is spelled correctly in the description.
Something else about that. Apparently the stamps last week, I didn't realize this. The stamps have been going underneath your recording. Yeah. So hopefully this week I fix that. If you watch the news, then you'll already know if I have or not.
Right. And now the comments from the cast. Strong Michelle says, "Nice on award show. My favorite show has got to be you guys."
Oh.
Zrugal says, I can count on one hand how many times I've watched the intro for a show this season. And that hand doesn't need all its fingers.
Wow. If I'm watching more than one episode in a row, I will skip the intro. If I'm just watching like that week's shows, then I usually won't, unless it's a really, really bad intro. I do generally skip the outros, though.
Oddly enough, I skipped the show from the intro of Rusted Armor. So
yeah, I skip the intro the first few episodes because it will always give spoilers for the rest of the show.
That is true.
Unless it's Bleach, in which case Bleach just never gives spoilers.
Anyway,
he says,
I really love both Campfire Cooking and Handyman Saito. I refuse to pick and award them both first place for Isekai in my heart.
Oh,
Nice.
And then when the hosts got confused about whose turn it was, Kanpai Cast used Confusion Ray on itself. It was extremely effective. They hurt themselves with the confusion. So goddamn true. We got that. I was so confused. Like,
Oh dear.
that hurt my brain. Right, and now it's time for the memes.
woo,
Right,
everybody's favorite part, the memes.
Yes. So first of all, great news. We actually had 7 supporter memes. So we're only showing 6.
But we are linking all 7 in the description.
I don't know how we're going to do the 7th. Yeah, I guess we'll
Well,
link
here's
here's
another point. Here's another point, right? My 6th one is actually part of a YouTube video. So I found this YouTube video trimmed, right? It was slapped up on Instagram. So much pirated content on Instagram. It's insane. But the whole point is I found the original source and we're going to link to that instead of actually having it up on the Kanpai Cast. So YouTube links will go to their original source because we want to support YouTube.
And YouTube links
and
when
we'll
you
get
do
slapped
that.
with community guidelines again.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Meme number 1 for the viewers? Oh, no?
Yes, but before we start, remember that all of these memes come from our Kanpai Cast Discord. If you want to go over there, submit something funny for us. We highlight up to 6 per week. So get your memes in early and you are here on the show with your own humor.
We should see if we can get the names of who submitted them. Anyway.
Let's name and shame you.
Oh gosh.
Gokuism is the belief. Sorry, do you want to go?
No.
Okay. Gokuism is the belief that the principles of Dragon Ball provide a moral compass for one's life, and that Goku is an ideal role model and moralistic person. By some definitions, it implies that Goku provides personal, global, and universal salvation, and that his death and resurrections were for our sake.
Oh my god.
Bye, son.
Okay.
But I hate Titans turns into Titan. I hate ghouls turns into ghoul. I hate vampires turns into vampire. Karen, general manager. What? I hate
my god!
Oh, I hate Karen turns into general. I get it.
Karen's hate managers. She turned into one.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh dear.
Nice.
Straight women yaoi, gay men yaoi, lesbian yaoi, straight men yaoi. I would have also accepted JoJo. I would have accepted JoJo.
Funniest thing I've seen in Twitter today. American Gunpla Builder emphasizes that posing is important.
Yes.
Of course it's Ariel.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my
god. The most unrealistic part of Death Note is that a goth girl like Misa had an 8-foot-tall monstrous god of death who was so blatantly down to fuck, and instead of jumping on that, she spent the series thirsting after a gay Republican. What the fuck? It's not wrong.
Okay.
It's not wrong.
Okay.
Oh my god! Is the anime profile picture of Fern and
god!
Well, yes.
Right. Fuck. It's gonna be hard to top. Okay. Especially since I had trouble finding memes. Every masterpiece has its cheap copy. I have no idea what this is actually. Is that the Witch and the Beast? No, it's not. Oh no, Fairy Gone. Fairy Gone.
No idea.
Weird.
But everything's inferior to JoJo, let's face it. Mom, can we have 02 at home? No, we have... Oh, no, Mom, can we have 02? No, we have 02 at home. 02 at home? Oh, that's not a good look.
Oh my god, that's on the side of someone's car. That's on the side of someone's car.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. An animator slaps the butt of a magic girl. This bad girl can fit so much fetish in it.
Oh my god.
Yes, it can. Oh my gods above, can it fit so much
wait for next week. Just wait for next week.
Yeah.
Remember her? This is her now.
Oh my god.
That's mean. That is wrong.
Bro, I forgot to put him in sport mode.
Oh my!
You forgot to put the Crocs in sport mode?
Oh, I forgot he actually says it. Shit. And my last one, a visual representation of Ubisoft's relationship with gamers.
Yep. Biting the hand that feeds.
Yep.
Alrighty. Mappa just stole a screen cap from Total War Empire and used it as a painting in the table scene. You can't make this shit up.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wow. Wow.
Holy shit.
Isekai writers, when I tell them that settings other than medieval Europe exist.
Fair.
Struck has finally made it.
Oh no!
I love the little subtitle. Ah, shit.
Good on you, buddy. You finally made it.
God. Oh my god.
And then I use my explosion magic. That's cute. Have you tried trapping your enemy in a time loop? I made my enemy kill herself.
Yep.
Show me the best anime with 100 in the title. I said the best anime with 100 in the title.
Oh, Xeno would love
Perfection.
this. Xeno would love.
I do love
this. I chose this one for you, Xeno. I chose this one
it.
for you, Xeno.
This is brilliant.
They're communicating.
Oh no!
Oh my god! I got Loz and Nasuth to watch the first episode of Bocce the other week, and yeah.
Shame there's no English dub.
Where? Okay.
Xeno.
This
yes.
is mine now, isn't it?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
A farmer is nothing without his hose.
Yes. Correct.
It's a good series, though. Yeah.
Because he's holding the ground, right? Because that's why, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's what he's got one over his shoulder in the first image.
Right. Your daddy didn't die, Naruto. He became a gym leader in Pokemon. Yep. Sheesh.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, everyone in Shibuya, Gojo in Prison Realm.
Yep.
I saw this one.
Right. Sorry. Elves are a proud and noble race. We are not lewd. Press exit out. I think my next one's the video one. So again, if you want to see the full video, go into the description.
Oh, okay, there we go.
If you want to see the full video, go into the description below, and you know, and it links to their channel and everything. So right, go on, Nasuth.
Do you know how to tell good bread without tasting it? It's not the smell, not the look, but the sound of the crust. Listen. A symphony of crackle. Only great bread sounds this way. Let's hear yours. That's not right. No. We'll put this back in the oven for a bit.
There you go.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
so link to their channel in the description below and everything. So yeah, go check it out. It's my number 6. There you go. Right.
Oh, next week I forgot to fill it in, but we know what it is, don't we?
Yeah, it's fine. So next week we'll be doing the 3-episode rule. We were going to do it this week, but then it became messy because half the shows haven't had their 3rd episode, where the majority of them have. It's like I don't know what's going on. Right.
We also did the Golden Tankers just last week, so I mean,
yeah,
that's true. That is true. Yeah. Right, but it is time to bottoms up and Kanpai.
Kanpai.
I'm
Tradition.
out.